Hi, how are you? I had quite a revelation the other day. Well, can a revelation be bad? A bad revelation. A realization. I had a realization the other day that I have never once finished a monthly TBR. Honestly, between you and me, I've not even come that close. I always try my best. I always read like half. Normally, I feel like half is probably my average. Sometimes above. I feel like the last couple months, I feel like we've read more than half. And here's the thing, I don't want the monthly TBRs to be like pressured to be like you have to read every single one on that list, because I feel like it makes reading not fun if you like have to read books you're not in the mood for. That being said, I quite like a challenge. And it would be really cool if this month could be the first month in which I finish my monthly TBR. So, with that in mind, it's currently, as I'm filming this, the 19th. Which sounds like, oh, you've got ages, you're good, you've got loads of time to read. I only really have 2 days. It's had an insanely hectic week after the 21st. For context, it's currently Sunday and it is 10 to 1. It's 12:50 on Sunday. This video is coming out Tuesday night. We have until Tuesday to not only try and read my entire physical TBR, but to also edit the video. So, with that in mind, let me introduce you to May's TBR. This is May's TBR plus Luster by Reid and Leilani, which I already had to give back to the library, unfortunately. The books that I have read so far: Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, Happy Place by Emily Henry, and Luster by Reid and Leilani. I've read those 3, which means we are left with Misery by Stephen King, Lies by Michael Grant, Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, Apples No. 4 by Liane Moriarty, Fleabag by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and Malibu Rising by Jenkins Reid. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books to try and read in 3 days. However, hear me out, this is the reason I think I can do it. Fleabag is tiny. It's 39 pages. There's no way we can't not do that. Before the Coffee Gets Cold is 213 pages. It's really short, we can definitely do that. Lies is not at all short, but I am currently on page 82. I've at least made a little bit of a dent into that one. And these 3 haven't started, haven't touched. So that is the plan of action. This is kind of basically going to end up being a 48-hour readathon. The plan is to read as much as physically possible. I could start with one of the shorter books to make myself feel like, oh, we're making progress. But I am actually kind of in the mood for Malibu Rising, so I might just start this. This I actually don't know anything about. I said in my TBR, the back of it sounds like a thriller, but the cover is not giving thriller, so I don't really know what this is about. But I think we might start this now. Wait, it's referencing Carrie Soto. Did this book not come out before Carrie Soto? Carrie Soto is not listed on the books that she's published, so I think this came out before, but it basically says, I don't think this is a spoiler because it's on page 12 of a book before Carrie Soto comes out. It says, Nina didn't hate Carrie Soto for stealing her husband because husbands can't be stolen. Carrie Soto wasn't a thief. Brandon Randall was a traitor. Is that what Carrie Soto is going to be about? Very interesting. It's just referenced Cecilia St. James as well from The Seven Husbands. So cool, like, seeing all of the, like... Because I guess this is, like, set, like, in a big Hollywood crowd, so it makes sense to have, like, big tennis players and big, like, actors from the other books, like, interacting. But that's so cool. Alright, I am about a third, would we say, into Malibu Rising. I'm on page 132. I am eating this up. You know, at the start when I was like, oh, I don't really know, like, what genre this is? The genre is Seven Husbands. Whatever genre that was, that is this genre. It's not thriller. It's kind of like a mix of like contemporary, historical fiction, kind of some romantic vibes. I don't know, whatever genre Seven Husbands was, is giving me that, like not content-wise, but voice-wise, style-wise. It's also dual perspective, like Seven Husbands was. It basically follows the River family, so it's Nina River is like the older sister, so it's her, the 2 brothers, Jay and Hud, and then their younger sister Kit. So it kind of follows them, and then it kind of flashes back. The previous timeline is their mum and like their parents kind of meeting and like everything that happened in that timeline. And I love June with my entire heart. June is the mum. And every time something bad happens to June, it actually breaks my little heart. It's basically following, like Nina, she's just broken up with her husband, as I kind of said before. He left her for Carrie Soto, as it turns out. She throws this annual party, basically. It's like this big Hollywood party, anyone who's anyone is there. It's like one of those vibes. And she's kind of like, she doesn't really want to throw it this year. Like him leaving her happened very publicly and very recently, and so she's kind of like, I don't really want to throw this party, but her siblings basically convinced her, they're like, no, you have to, it'll be so good. So they're kind of like prepping for the party. Basically, it hasn't actually started yet. Anyway, I'm gonna keep going with this. I am on page 209, so pretty much exactly halfway through. I have a theory about the fire. They haven't even mentioned the fire yet. I have a theory about who started it, and I am so sure I'm right. I probably won't be now. I'm just so sure I'm right. I have absolutely nothing else to say. I just wanted to document it here, even though I won't be able to prove it, so that when I find out at the end who started the fire. Did I even ever mention it? This book, it says on the back, ends in like the mansion that this party is on fire. And I have a theory about who it is, and I think I'm right. And I just wanted to document it so I can prove at the end. Okay, I have finished the first book, and it is currently 6:40 p.m. So I think when did I start this? I think it took me around 5-ish hours. Maybe closer to 6 hours actually. You know that that last clip where I was like, oh, I know who started the fire, I like figured it out. Yeah, we're all gonna disregard that. I was literally, up until the last chapter, I was convinced I got it right. I was so sure. No, didn't get it right, but it's fine. Guys, this was such a fun book. It really does still remind me of The Seven Husbands, just in terms of tone, and it's kind of got that like, the same like historical, well, calling the 80s historical is a bit wild. The now and then timeline, the past, the present, the like family dynamics, the emotional storylines. June's storyline broke my heart, bro. Actually broke my heart. I love June. So that is the first book of the video done, which I'm pretty darn happy about. I'm debating now what to start. These are our selections. I'm kind of thinking maybe I do one of the short ones. Maybe I just do Fleabag. It's 39 pages. I can bash that out in an hour. I can do it. All right, let's do this. I'm gonna take a quick break because I feel like I'm doing a 24-hour readathon. I am. I'm doing a 48-hour readathon, basically. I'm gonna take a break. I might have some dinner, and I'm so excited for this. And I think it's gonna be really funny. So it'll be like a nice change of pace, I reckon. All right, I flew through it. I mean, it was only 39 pages, but like, obviously it's mostly dialogue, so I flew through. I think that took me maybe 40 minutes, and I took a phone call in the middle. This was absolutely fabulous. Firstly, if you haven't seen it, this is Phoebe Waller-Bridge. She's wonderful. This is a TV show. Well, it was a play first. It's a one-woman play, and then it got adapted into a TV show, which has 2 seasons. Both are wonderful. The TV show has like lots of characters in. So basically in the play, she plays everyone. She wrote it, starred in the TV show, all around amazing, talented human being. How do you describe this, like plot-wise? I'm just gonna read you the quote, which is basically the blurb of the play on the back. It says, "I sit on the loo and think about the people I can have sex with now. I am not obsessed with sex, I just can't stop thinking about it." That sums it up fairly well. I literally don't know how I would describe the plot of this to you, but it is so funny, so deeply personal, surprisingly emotional, and you follow this woman like going through her life and getting into these like situations, and it like goes into her like messy relationships, her like messy family. Like it's a messy story, and it's actually fabulous. I realise most people who watch my content primarily read books, which is why almost everything I talk about is books, and like when I do read plays, I don't always give them like as much in-depth like reviews, because I figure people are less interested in that. However, if you're not into plays, if you've never read one, or you're just like, it's not really your thing, please give this a go. I mean, for one thing, it's literally so short, it's 39 pages. Like, you will fly through it in 40 minutes. But it's just so funny, gripping. It's so good. I think we're gonna call it a day for now. I am I'm getting tired. I'm a little bit sick of reading. Even though I've read really good books today, I've actually had such a good day of reading. I don't want to read anymore. But we've done 2 of the 6, which I think is impressive. We still have all day tomorrow and then most of the next day. So I feel like we're on track. We're very much on track. So probably the next time I see you, I will check in with whatever it is that we pick up next. Good morning. It is the next day. I have started the next book. I started Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi this morning. So it's not exactly what I was expecting. It's split up into like short stories, I guess you would call them. They're kind of like interconnected short stories. So I've read the first 2, although that is basically halfway. I'm on page 109. And basically I've read 2 stories. So the first one was like this woman who wanted to like, her boyfriend broke up with her. So I never explained what this book was about. This book basically is about this time-traveling cafe where if you sit at this specific table and follow very, very specific rules, you can time travel. But it's honestly like really useless time travel because you can only go back to the cafe. You have to stay in that spot. If you want to meet someone, they have to have already been to the cafe and they have to be planning to go to the cafe on the day that you're planning to meet them. So it's just like, there are a few other rules as well. It's just very specific. So it's kind of like you can travel back, but it's almost just like not worth it in most situations. Yeah, the first story, the woman basically, her like boyfriend broke up with her. So she wanted to like travel back in time to go see him. Oh, that's the other rule, is you can't change anything. Nothing you do, even if you like do something differently, nothing in the present will change. So again, it's kind of pointless. But like she still wanted, I guess, to go back and see him. So that was the first story. The second story was about this guy who had Alzheimer's and he was basically starting to forget who his wife was. That one actually I found really, really moving. That one was really sad. It's not exactly what I was expecting. I've heard this described as like a fantasy / magical realism, and I think I thought it was going to be more like plot heavy, and it's definitely a lot more like introspective. Like it's definitely more of a philosophical book set in a time traveling cafe, if that makes sense. And because it's so short, you don't get to spend a lot of time with each of the characters. You definitely don't get the time to get super attached to them because you only get like a little bit of their story and then you move on to someone else. But the writing is stunning. And yeah, I think it's 5 stories and I've read, oh no, it's only 4 stories. Oh, okay, so I've read the first 2, so I've read half of it. And basically all of the like staff in the like cafe are kind of all connected in one way or another. There is a little like map at the start which basically says like the different relationships. I actually haven't used it at all. I personally think it's quite easy to follow, but it is there like if you want to follow it. There is quite a lot of characters. The writing is very, very beautiful and it's like so short that I'm flying through it. Thank God, because I mean it's about 2 p.m. now, and I need to head out now for a few hours. So I'm going to try and finish this when I get home and then move on to the next book because yeah, we've still got 4 books including this, so 3.5 books I guess including this to try and finish before tomorrow. We have just over 24 hours. Is that going to happen? Don't know, but we're going to try. We're 2.5 books down in this video so far, so I'm happy with that progress. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to head out now and then I will obviously check in with you on this a little bit later. Sat on an Easter egg box because I'm classy like that. So it's quite a lot later. I have officially finished Before the Coffee Gets Cold. So that is book number 3. We are making progress. It is, oh, I've just found a bookmark under my bed. Lovely. So it is currently 8:30. So we are getting through the day. I'm trying to think what to start next. The books we have left are Misery, Lies, and Apples Never Fall. Is that it? What am I in the mood for? Misery is like, I think, a thriller / horror. Don't know if I want to start that at night. Apples Never Fall is actually also a thriller, but I think that will be like less scary. I think that's more of like a domestic thriller. And then Lies is in the middle of a series that I'm currently reading. But I have started Lies. I think I'm like 80 pages in. Should we start that? Wait, let me get it. I'm on page 82 of Lies. This is the third book in the Gone series by Michael Grant, which is like a dystopia fantasy basically about all these kids like trapped in a dome and they like develop magical powers. I love this series. It holds a real place in my heart. It is quite a longish book. It is 471. So I've basically got just over 400 pages left. So I think we'll probably do some reading of this tonight. We can hopefully get a good chunk of that done tonight and then hopefully finish it tomorrow morning. Is that ambitious? Maybe. We will see. I will check in with you when I have some updates on Lies. Alright, I'm actually calling it for a day. It's quite late. But I made it to page 258, so I'm pretty much exactly, I would say, halfway through Lies. I'm not making the progress I would have loved. I'd like to have maybe been like 3/4 by now, but it's what it is. Yeah, when I wake up tomorrow, basically I've got something in the morning and then I guess I'll come home and just try and finish the book, and then I have to also edit this video and get it up. So I feel like we're probably only going to get this book done. I can't see us reading any of the others. I guess we'll see what tomorrow brings. I'm going to try and get up early so I can maybe get a bit of reading done before I need to go out. We'll see what we can do. But for now, I'm going to go to bed because I am tired. Morning. It is the next day. I woke up this morning, did a little bit of reading. It's currently 9:27 a.m. So I read a bit this morning. I've got to page 321. I'm heading to the vet's now to take my little smudge for his vaccinations. I feel like it's going to be a very, very scary day for him. He hates the car. I can't imagine he's going to enjoy being stabbed with a needle. So we're going to do that. And then I'm going to give him so many cuddles. And then I've got a few other like errands and bits I need to do in town. And then we're going to come home and we're going to finish this. And then we will see what time it is if we can start another book. I'm feeling less and less confident. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah, that is today's plan. I feel like I never once checked in on this book. Because I don't know if I explained in this video, but I feel like I've explained in every other video I've literally done all year. But I'm doing a reread of this series, so I have technically read this book before. Because when I was a child, I read every single book in this series except the last one. And now I want to know how the last one ends. But I mean, the last time I read them, I was probably like 13 or 14. They are YA, but to me, they don't read like YA. They go through it in these books. They really do. But this is the third one, and it's just a comfort series for me because this is probably the series that like got me into reading. So it just holds such a special place in my heart. Like, I was a little dyslexic ADHD child and I was so dead set about like, I'm not a reader, I don't like reading. Now look at me now. Look at me now, quite literally have a YouTube channel dedicated to it. Honestly, rereading it as a 23-year-old, I maybe love it even more because I think of all that like sentimental value it had when I was a kid. But also they are just genuinely really good books. Like, you follow this like insanely huge cast. There's like probably 30 or 40 characters and you read, not from their perspectives, it's all third person, but like you'll be following each of them doing different bits. And I feel like that could be really overwhelming, but Michael Grant has such a talent for writing such a large cast who are genuinely all interesting. Like, I feel like there are no filler characters where I'm like, I don't really want to read about this person. I would say there are at least 20 characters who are like main characters and you follow regularly, and they all have such like individual personalities, and like I just think he's done such a brilliant job of building the world. And obviously because you get to like follow it over this series, you get to see all like the intricacies of like the fallout of this new world, everyone being under 15. I just really enjoyed this series and I don't see a lot of people talk about it. And I guess it's an older series. When was it published? I mean, this was the third book, but the third book was published in 2010. So like it's an older series. Anyway, that is Lies, and as I say, 150 pages left, but I'm going to go to the vets now, I'm going to run my errands, and then we will come back, finish that book off, and we will see where we're at. It's actually quite a bit later now. It's now just gone 4 in the afternoon. The vets was a little bit of a disaster. They wouldn't do his vaccination because it was like a different one than what we had. But on the bright side, happy puppy because he didn't get stabbed. But came home, finished Lies, another one, done. However, it is 4 p.m. and sadly, I've got to edit and get this video up, so we are calling it. We are calling it for this challenge. So I thought I would do a little summary. This is what we read in this video, which I'm pretty chuffed with in 48 hours. That is not bad going. Of our whole TBR, obviously previously we had read these two and Luster. So the only two we haven't managed to get to are Apples Never Fall and Misery. I will try my very best to get maybe one of these read before the end of the month. I'd still say 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 out of 9 of my TBR. I'm pretty happy with that, and we made a very, very good dent in this video. Started with Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Messy family dynamics, famous family, like Hollywood setting. It was actually a really, I don't think I spoke about it at the time, but there was a really interesting structure in this book where they didn't get to the party for quite a long time, but when they did get to the party, which was like maybe the last third, they would have these like chapters where they would like focus on one character and then like just someone at the party, like a completely random person who had nothing to do with the story, and then they would go back to like the main family, and like kind of every other chapter was that, and then at the end they all kind of tied in at the end. So the structure was really unique. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. This definitely reminded me of Seven Husbands. Again, nothing to do with the content, like the content is different. I mean, they're both like Hollywood settings, but it's a very different story. But if you enjoyed like the tone and the feel of Seven Husbands, I think you'd enjoy this. Then we read Fleabag by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I've seen the TV show, I've seen a screening of the stage show, so like I know the story very well, but just getting to read through the text and actually experience, like, she is such a talented writer, it's actually unreal. Like, she is so funny, and like there is so much like so much subtlety in the writing, and like you get all of these like really unexpected like emotional subplots in there, and it's gorgeous and funny and relatable, and I love. Then we finished Before the Coffee Gets Cold, which I think I said before, it wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting more of like a high fantasy time traveling. I think I thought we were going to be following these characters going to all these different places, and because the time traveling is you can't leave the cafe and you can't even leave the seat that you time traveled in, it became very like small and introspective, and so it was definitely not what I was expecting, but it was beautiful writing. It was interconnected short stories. They were introspective, philosophical. They were very much more about like kind of family dynamics and friendships, and like looking at different types of relationships. It is only 200 pages, so you don't get to spend that much time with each of the characters and each of the stories, but with the small amount of time that you do spend with the characters, you get such like deep, poetic, stunning writing. And we had Lies by Michael Grant, which is the third book in the Gone series. I feel like I just like went on a whole rant about how much this series means to me, but as I say, it's one that's very close to my heart, and I just genuinely think anyone would enjoy this because there really is a bit of everything. You've got your dystopia fantasy, you've got horror elements, you've got romantic elements, like there are like couples in this, I don't know, and it's got one of my all-time favourite couples of like all time. There we go. We got through 4 books, 3 books in a play, in 48 hours, which is not bad going. It's not bad going, especially as this book was like nearly 500 pages. I actually really, really enjoyed this style of video. Let me know if you want me to do this again. I just, there was something quite nice about just sort of, it wasn't exactly mood reading since my TBR, but it was kind of like I could just sit and pick the books I want to read and chill. I don't know, I had quite a good time. We're still continuing the mission to one day finish a monthly TBR. We got close, 7 out of 9. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you could subscribe and like the video, that would be amazing. I would love to have you, and I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye!